Hey, grade 10s. This morning I want to just go over with you something new that we're trying with an assignment you're going to see pop up, which is called the optics problem set. So you're meant to do this on Thursday. It won't be due until Tuesday night, and it's only 5 questions. So you're going to see that there's actually quite a bit of time to work on it. But something that is sort of new is we're going to be using a question generator. So I'd like to just walk you through what the assignment is. Really, really important. You really have to do lesson 7 and 11 before you try to complete it. Otherwise, it's really not going to make sense to you. So when we go over to Google Classroom, you guys will see under Light and Optics, there's an assignment called Optics Problem Set. So I'm going to ask you to open up the Google Doc, and there's a copy made for each of you. So you guys will be able to actually edit within this document. Just a couple really quick things. I mentioned in the schedule, it is for marks. So it's going to be 5 application and 5 communication marks. The 5 application are based on just getting the questions right. And the 5 communication are kind of these checklists that we have here. So if you've been following along, you're going to see that I always organize the questions using what's called the GRASS method. So basically listing out all the given and required, every formula that we might use, logical steps and units, as well as like a final sentence or a final statement. So I'll be looking that you're doing these 5 throughout all of your questions. So we are only going to be completing 5 questions, as I mentioned. So I want to just really quickly show you is how we get the questions, because if you scroll down, you're going to see there are no questions here. So everyone has just a blank document. So what you're going to need to do to actually access the questions is you're going to pop back over to where it says optics problem set, and you're going to see this guy, problem set assigner. So when we open this, we're going to see basically just a blank sheet, and it says not applicable for a whole bunch of questions. So as I mentioned here, we're going to type our last name as it appears on Teach Assist under last name. The numbers that pop up are going to be the numbers that I complete in the problem set. So here is my example. I'm going to type in my last name here, and when I press enter, it's going to generate, and just takes a couple of seconds, it's going to generate question numbers for me. So you can see group 1, group 2, group 3, and so forth. So you'll see a link here. Once you have your numbers, click here to copy your questions. And part of why we're doing this is just to randomize the questions for you guys, just so that everyone has something a bit different. So in my particular example, I had to choose number 1 from group 1, number 2 from group 2, and so forth. Yours will be likely different numbers than this, which is fine. So when I go to that link, I'm going to see group 1. I'm going to copy this question. So I'm going to just use Control C, and when I go over to my optics problem set down here, I'm going to do Control V, and I'm going to just paste it right here. In section 2, right, going back over here, group 2, I have number 2. So when I go to the question bank, I'm going to see a whole category of group 2. And I'll just mention really quickly, there's a really good hint here. This is essentially, what do I need to use to actually figure out this question? So I've mentioned here index of refraction with angles. I'm going to come back to that in just a second. And I'm going to use my trick, Control C, and here, Control V. So I'm just copying and pasting. So you're going to do that for your 5 questions. I have a copy of what questions were assigned to you, so just keep that in mind. But you can always reopen it and just type your name again. It's very, very simple to do. Now, I want to just mention again, you're only completing 5 questions. So in that big document, there's like 50 questions. You're not going to be doing all of those, just the 5 questions that you've been selected. And I put right here a really important hint. So we're using things from lesson 7 and lesson 11. These are hyperlinked back to my copies of the lesson, so you're welcome to go back there and just double check. Also the reference sheet. So this guy has all of the different equations, all of the different information. Now, if this is not enough to help you, Sorry, it's just taking a second to load. What I will recommend that you do is actually, if you need more information than this, is actually to go back into these schedules. So week 3 schedule and week 5 schedule, you're going to see all the videos again. You're going to see all the examples that we did in class. So those should be able to help you with completing the assignment. I'll just quickly mention here is when you're finished this, the 5 questions, you're going to either, if you did it on paper or you did it on your computer, you want to attach those files onto your assignment. So I'll go back over here for just a quick sec. On yours, it's going to look different because obviously you're a student, I'm a teacher, but you should be able to see something here like add attachments. And so if you decided to do pen and paper, you can just click add and just click to upload your pictures. So depending how you completed it, totally up to you. I'll just go back here for a quick sec. Some of these questions you might be able to do without showing your work, but just keep in mind that with the communication part, I'm looking for your process and I'm looking that you're using the steps. So even though this might seem really simple, it's just dividing 2 numbers, you need to go back and make sure that you're showing all of this stuff in order to get your full marks for communication. As always, if you do have questions, I'll invite you to just post your question as a private comment or come talk to me in our office hours. I'm happy to go through it with you again.